Yo. Welcome back to another video. Ups and downs from Smackdown, October 11th, 2024. We're ready to get into it. Let my boy Simon talk to you real quick.
We had a bad blood video at the start of Smackdown. Honestly, that feels like it happened 46 years ago. Because wrestling needs to slow the hell down. Also, hello my friends and welcome to Ups and Downs. This time we are talking about Smackdown, which aired on the 11th of October, 2024. And I'm going to tell you what I like, what I didn't like. People are going to get so mad. Because I'm in control here, and I have the power, because I have this. It's known as the FOP. It's a finger of power, and you can point your finger around, but it does nothing. But me, I can summon internet trolls the world over. Let's up those doubts. We also had a great kickoff after all of this too, because Jimmy Uso is back. All right, he was super over just because he's been away for a long time. I've totally forgotten about all the terrible things that he did do, and as he did tell us, I have not been here for 6 months because Solo Sikoa took me out. He didn't mean for dinner. Then turned out we were getting Jim versus Solo later, which is brother versus brother, so that happened very quickly. And just as he was going to say, I'm going to whip your ass, Roman Reigns interrupted. Roman's a weird guy. He must have just been hanging out behind the curtain. The crowd chanted OTC, and of course now we know that to stand for Official Tiger Champion, when, my word, we flipped its table on the head, because Roman turned to Jimmy and he said, you know what? Usually we acknowledge me, but tonight we are acknowledging you. That always makes me laugh because it was a big deal and I felt it too. But it's just a word, man. But we've taken that word and we have given it meaning.
If you're a web designer, here are 4 Wix Studio features you gotta know.
It just goes to show that the original Bloodline are now super baby faces, and Roman even called him Big Jim, which is like a trucker who lives down the road that you're always asking for jumper cables. Reigns then told Jimmy while he can understand, he also can't understand about this revenge that he wants because he's not an older brother, and that's because he's not a wise man. So he made the reference. Although I don't think this crowd understood, nobody made a noise. He also called himself the tribal chief, which means he can take whatever he wants. That's a bit like Roman. I don't think any judge is going to buy that. They have done this for the last 4 years though, and there was a time when they were running high and they were buying every single house they could do. So he's not very happy about where they are at the moment, because it just doesn't feel the same, because they're out of control. Roman then called all of them the GOATs, which is also fun out of context. But that's when Jimmy weighed back in. He was like, well actually, my tribal chief, I think that's true right now. This is because Reigns at the moment is a tribeless chief, or a chief without a tribe, or something like that, which is one of the reasons Jimbo returned to begin with. Nobody asked him to do this, but he knew that Roman needed help. Maybe that 4-letter word is something we need to study. He also knows who the guy could be to join in. This is when the crowd started to chant yeet. I was like, man, this story works so well because everybody gets it. It then got even better because Roman simply said no yeet. This made all the sense in the world. Unless it was the first time you were watching wrestling, then you were totally confused when Jim just laid it down again and said, listen, man, I came back to you. I want you to have a tribe, but you and me together, that ain't enough. I mean, if nothing else, nobody else is acknowledging him when Jim just left the ring, which was kind of strange. Roman sort of just stood there, looking off into the distance, because he was a sad panda. So I do have to admit that sometimes during this, the audience felt a little bit off, which was strange, but once again, it's just a Bloodline segment that gets you super duper excited, because we have basically officially announced, though it's unofficial, eventually the Romans and the Usos are getting back together. And we'll probably throw Sami Zayn in there too. And I'm going to be doing the Dance of Joy. It's going to be so damn good. It's getting up. When it was time for a United States title match, we are booking LA Knight like a beast. Good. He was facing Carmelo Hayes as well, who is doing so good right now. I just think this guy gets better and better and better every single week. And he has established himself as an important member of Smackdown. I suppose it lacked jeopardy because nobody in their right mind thought that LA Knight was going to lose his championship, especially because eventually they spilled to the outside. And who did Carmelo see at ringside? It was Andrade. It was like, oh man, it's me, Mr. Tranquilo. I'm definitely going to screw you over later. As they were arguing, Knight decided to come flying through the ropes and gave Carmelo a big old drop kick, where he was hit with the most powerful force in all of sports entertainment, the commercial break, because yes, we got the advert. And then Carmelo Hayes had applied a headlock. Don't forget, when somebody does do this, they're trying to squidge the brains out of somebody's skull. LA Knight then suplexed Hayes back into the ring when he got an atomic drop, 1980s moves for life, when he climbed up to the top rope and he hit that big elbow. Yeah, Bo. Hayes didn't like that though, so he busted out a kick that was super when we were getting back body drops and neck breakers. When it was you pin me and I'll pin you, oh, our Nan is here. She's trying to get the pin, but nobody can do it. Knight then thought he could score with the BFT, but he was totally wrong because Carmelo hit him with a pop-up cutter. When he made the number one mistake that all sports entertainers does. He went to the top rope when he was like, I think there's another wrestler on the outside of the ring. And of course there was. It was Andrade. And they started to look at each other. I mean, he was like a toy that had run out of batteries, which meant when he did go for nothing but net, LA Knight had taken his Phoenix down, he was totally recovered, and they had a bit more of a scuffle, but essentially BFT, 1, 2, 3. Andrade then made sure to talk ship to Hayes, just so next week we can do round number 672 when it comes to their feud. I ain't gonna get mad at it. It's been pretty good so far. This was really fun though, and there's just something entertaining about LA Knight being the dad and whipping his son's asses. And I presume at one point one of these is gonna win or something. Either way, Jimmy Uso and Cody.
Gotta do something real quick. I don't have to go nowhere. I'm just. Should someone get on here? I want to make sure I got my audio on. You know, don't want that to be off. If someone's on here talking and then I can't hear them, and it's like I'm a bad guy. So I'm not talking to them. Alright, we got the audio on now, so should y'all say something, I will hear y'all.
Cody Rhodes then saw each other backstage, and man, I hope Kevin Owens didn't see this clip, because that guy's gonna lose his damn mind. Because Cody not only thanked Jimmy Uso for what he did at the weekend, but Jim was like, well man, you're never gonna get the help again. However, I see you stood here as the WWE champion, and I respect it. So now they're friends too? Poor Kevin Owens. It also tied exactly into what was coming next, because we were meant to get Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson making their debut on Smackdown, when instead, out came Kevin Owens from the crowd. He was really, really mad. I mean, he was even wearing a Dusty Rhodes t-shirt, and even though he tried to talk, WWE cut off his microphone, because he's meant to be suspended, and he's not meant to be here right now. I like it. He still went over to Corey Graves and ripped off his headset and said, why is everybody blaming me? I didn't turn on Cody, he turned on me. Listen, I love Cody Rhodes and I love Kevin Owens, but I have to be true to my feelings. KO is right. Officials must have been watching this though, because they ran to the ring to try and defuse this situation. And one of these people was Randy Orton. I don't think Owens realized that. So at one point, without looking, he elbowed Randy right in the face. And you can't do that to the Viper. So as soon as he could, he punched Kevin right in the mouth, and my goodness, he looked upset. Eventually, they all left, and I was having a meltdown, because I was like, man, you were such good buddies. Now we're falling out all over the place. It is great, though, and it is such a great way to do it, because yes, Kevin Owens has a point. If you go back in time to the Royal Rumble, you can see KO versus Roman Reigns, who Cody Rhodes is now friends with, and what did the Tribal Chief try to do? Kill Kevin Owens in a cart. He ran him down in a vehicle like he was damn Mario. So of course it hurts because we have feelings for everybody. But imagine, in 2022, somebody had tried to stab you in the face, and then come 2024, somebody new and loved was hanging out with this stabber. You're not gonna like it. So I really appreciate the fact we are doing this differently, and I have no idea how it's going to play out. This was good wrestling. Thankfully, Jackson and Legend by this point was still in the ring, so we did the tag match. Why not? Now, I really enjoyed seeing them on Smackdown, and we had a video before all this where I thought they came across very well. But in terms of what we got here, my word, it was very, very confusing. Because when we got into the match, I both liked it and didn't like it. I wouldn't say I didn't like it, but I was trying to figure it out, and eventually I was just screaming at my TV. Why? Because it only went 2 minutes, which I thought was a little bit of a negative. But because of this, somebody must have told Jakara and Lash, right, you have to go as crazy as you possibly can. And for a good 90 seconds, these two were totally dominating Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I mean, they got 1-2-ooh, where they were jumping off each other's shoulders and doing bulldogs and who knows what else. And at some stage, they were like, oh, Jade Cargill's over there. And they booted her to the floor. So this was basically like an assault, but before all of this, we had seen Chelsea Green and Piper Niven at ringside. event, and this is what kind of tied in, because all these teams found themselves yelling at each other when Lash Legend was like, Chelsea Green, you absolutely stink, and she kicked her, and Chelsea went flying over on the announce table. Now there was a massive error because eventually Cargill got the hot tag when Jade and Bianca Belair hit their finishers, and they got the 1, 2, 3 out of nowhere. But honestly, after this, it was like somebody got adrenaline and injected it right into my face. So I'm going to say that it was too quick because I wanted more, so that's a down. But again, these are NXT guys, so maybe the short running left was what they did need. And also, I was hugely entertained. And I can only imagine if you'd never seen this duo before, you walked away going, oh, they're pretty good. So they maximised their minutes, and you've got to give it an up. So all things considered, maybe this is the way to do it. To the lab. It was right back to Cody Rhodes after this, who was stood outside his bus as Nick Aldis and Randy Orton was talking to him, and they were just trying to calm him down, but you could see it in Cody's eyes, he wanted murder. Aldis was also shouting about Crown Jewel, saying, I need you ready for Gunther, when Orton was like, look, drive away in your nice bus, which is here, and I will go and take care and calm down Kevin Owens. This is when Randy handed the WWE title to Rhodes. You just know what he's doing. This was left with Orton once again saying, I'm going to fix it. Give you a small spoiler, he did not fix it. Before that, Nia Jax came to the ring with Tiffany Stratton because she had something to say to Bayley, and that was, I respect you, Bales. You gave me one hell of a fight. I even broke into a sweat. Even then, she has now decided that nobody on Earth can beat her. And I was like, Nia, that is a dumb thing to say. Do you know all the people that can now come down from outside of our universe? I mean, there's Wonder Woman. She's not from Earth. There's General Zod, and he'll make you kneel. And there's Gamora. You've seen Guardians of the Galaxy. She will flub you up. This also includes Liv Morgan, who of course she is going to face at Crown Jewel, where she said, you're nothing but a little girl who I'm going to annihilate. I was like, no, you need to rethink that sentence. You can't go around beating up little kids. Tiffany, of course, stood behind Nia the entire time, and Jax made it very clear when this was done, Tiffany Stratton is going to cash in on you. When she grabbed Tiffany's head and gave her a noogie. It's like, this is really strange. I haven't seen one of these since 1996. This is when Naomi came out because at the moment WWE are totally obsessed with interruptions, even though nobody's obeying Rule 14.8. And she was like, oh, shut up, Nia Jax. The only reason you beat Bayley is because of broken Barbie over here. I think she was talking about Tiffany Stratton. Nia then snapped back because she was like, listen, the last time I was beaten is because you and somebody else had to pin me simultaneously. So Naomi was like, well, actually, I think I can beat you by myself. When Jax just went, man, I am sick of your face, and made me laugh out loud. And this was too much for Naomi because she likes her face, so they said that we should fight, and out came a referee. Well, this got totally unhinged because who popped up on Smackdown? It was flipping Liv Morgan. She was here with Raquel Rodriguez and Dominic Mysterio with moustache and was like, listen, we were going to kick your ass, but as you're about to fight Naomi, well, we're just going to watch you lose, which is exactly what's going to happen at Crown Jewel. Now, this did lead to a match, and listen, the title wasn't on the line, which kind of gave it away. But actually, once again, I thought this was super fun. I want to turn up for the books. Naomi won Oodalali.
You like watching TV shows and movies? Don't watch on that. You want a quest.
And they said it wasn't?
She had a terrible plan at first.
I don't know.
She was being so arrogant. Eventually, Nia got her and threw her around the place. That's when I was like, no, Naomi, you are totally done for. You can't handle this Jax power. She also went into the ring post when we got a chin lock. And I really thought about that. I was like, somebody is working over somebody else's chin. I don't think that's going to win a wrestling match. Now we got back into this with a split-legged moonsault when she also got revenge by booting Nia into Simba the Still Steps. When she wanted to use Barry Barricade, but I think Jax was like, look, you've used enough ringside friends. When she hit a Samoan drop on the outside, and she is Samoan. Nia then missed the senton, so she didn't capitalize at all when Naomi came back with a bulldog and a crossbody for a 1-2-ooh. So finally, she was cooking. Nia eventually found herself on the outside too when Naomi hit a massive dive. When Tiffany was just like, I've got the briefcase, I'm going to hit you. And do you know who made the save? Was flubbing Raquel Rodriguez. Naomi then kicked Stratton away and went to the top rope, but there was so much distraction here, Jax stopped her, and just when she was going to hit the Annihilator, Raquel was on the apron casting distraction. And I was like, why do you care? It meant the referee was totally lost, which is when Morgan got the Money in the Bank briefcase and just whacked Nia Jax. And given that she was all wibbly wobbly and on the top rope, Naomi grabbed her and gave her a huge bomb of power. And that's right, she flippin' won. It then got so damn fun because Rhea Ripley's music hit and this place exploded because of course she wants revenge on Raquel and she also hates Liv and Dom Dom. She was whooping all of them as well when Mysterio did run away. I was like, dude, you were just the best heel and the worst person. So this was just a good old time and I love it when worlds collide, even though it is absolutely silly. I'm giving it an up. It's well worth your time. There is a down here sadly too though, because during this it was too much for my brain. WWE really has gone too crazy with nonsense. Because so far during this Smackdown, and it was the same with last week too, Carmelo Hayes had lost because Andrade was being a silly Billy on the outside. Chelsea Green was jaw-jacking Lash Legend, which also led to a 1-2-3. Then we had all of this, which again was totally out of control. I just feel WWE has been over-relying on this same finish way too much recently, and it's totally fine, it is wrestling, but when you do it all the time, you start to expect it, and then it's harder to invest in the match when it's just one-on-one. I mean, sometimes people just have to win. So yeah, that's a down. We then saw Melo backstage icing his wounds when Nick Aldis walked up to him, and he even talked about this. He was like, what are you gonna do about Andrade, man? He interfered in my match. Kinda. Of course, Aldis brought up the fact that we can get to Game 7 because Andrade and Carmelo Hayes are 3-on-3. So we're going to do that in 7 days' time, and whoever wins is the brand new #1 contender for the US title. Hayes then walked off, which is when Legado del Fantasma strolled in. Santos Escobar was a bit like, well, where's my US title opportunity shot, damn it? Nick was like, I gave you one, you buffoon, and you lost. Santos had more though, because he's like, listen, there's more people looking at you right now. What about Elektra Lopez? And what about Los Garzas? This was all a big tease though, because Aldis was like, well, this is very handy, because actually the Garzans do have a match next week. And given that we had another video on this episode of Smackdown, I actually believe it's going to be the debut of the Motor City Machine Guns. And as a massive nerd, that just fills me with joy. Talk about two dudes that deserve their shot. This is going to be totally woefully rad. Solo Sikoa also then forgot how to turn the lights on because he was in a darkened room telling Jimmy Uso, I'm going to make you acknowledge me as my tribal chief. And maybe he will. That match is next. Before that though, Nick Aldis was back and he was talking to the Street Profits and DIY. And everybody was yelling here, I think because of this brand new tag team. Once again, everybody just needs to calm down. Nick then turned to Spider-Man because his Spidey sense was kicking off and he ran down the hallway. And what did he find? Technically the worst thing ever. Kevin Owens was whooping Randy Orton's ass. So Randy did not do a good job. Randy really sold this like he was dead or something. So look at the 3 pillars here that we're going to have to sort out. It's good storytelling. When we cut back to the commentary table, Michael Cole called Kevin Owens Kevin Dunn. I was like, man, I don't want to see Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Dunn. Thankfully, he just made a mistake. Thankfully, though, it is Owens, and this thing is totally fire. When we got to our main event, Jimbo Uso taking on Solo Sikoa. Now, Jimmy was excellent here, given he hasn't wrestled for 6 months. Although we did a big tease at the start, Solo was all like, man, you got to acknowledge me because I'm the tribal chief, and Uso pretended he was going to. But he changed his mind and he whacked him one. He also made sure to look at the Bloodline 2.0 because he is a wrestler when he got to the dives. Listen, man, it's 2024, we have to have dives. Sadly, eventually Jim jumped off the top rope and he kind of got half spiked here right in the throat, which is when Jacob Fatu was taking a few shots. That's what he does. Sikoa then got way too arrogant though, which was another theme of this episode of Smackdown. So Jim grabbed his head and smashed it into all the teeth of the turnbuckles, but of course, how was he able to be stopped? Because of that damn Jacob Fatu. Eventually Solo used that to get back into things with a hip attack and a spinning heel kick. It's like, man, this is the most Street Fighter thing ever. Jacob was then hitting Jimmy Uso again, although he was still able to reverse live and hit a DDT onto Solo. When we got to the chops, because of course we did. Listen to how good that sounded. Sikoa didn't like that though, so he was able to hit another hip attack and a spinning Solo for a 1-2, where he made the mistake I keep telling wrestlers not to make, and he posed. And you're not allowed to do a kind of taunt on wrestling these days, because what did Jimmy Uso do? He rose for the ashes, and he smashed him with a kick that was super. He also got a crossbody for a 1-2. This is when the Bloodline freaked out. They jumped on the apron, which kind of ties into that down we've already talked about, but let's move on. Now, amazingly, Jim was able to fight them all off, and he hit a Samoan drop onto Sikoa. And once again, that works because he is Samoan. But there was just too many people here, so eventually Tama Tonga was distracting the referee. And even though Jimmy Uso was about to go for the splash, what did Tama Tonga do? He pushed him off, not Tama Tonga. He was doing the distracting. It was Jacob Fatu. From there, we did get the Samoan spike and the 1-2-3. It's okay, because this does tie into the overall story. But poor Jimmy only just came back. Roman's music hit instantly, meaning I had 2 questions. 1, what the hell has taken you so long? And 2, he still did his grandiose entrance here. So it was like that Jeff Hardy thing. It was like, Roman, just get to the ring. He was able to take out the entire bloodline, though, with Superman punches when he went face-to-face with Solo Sikoa as they started to trade blows. I don't mean they were doing this. I mean, they were punching each other. As ever, Jacob Fatu cannot be kept down, and he was back in the ring to save his tribal chief. And even though Jimmy Uso also tried to help, the numbers were against them 4-2, and they were taken out. Solo even hit the spike on Roman, and Reigns sold it like he was dead. The Bloodline then left, which was strange, because you thought they would finish them off for good, but this actually tied into what we could do at the end of Smackdown, because once again, Jimmy was saying to Roman, we need help, we need to get this guy. And you could see it on the tribal chief's face. Maybe he agrees. However, the last thing we did see was the Bloodline 2.0 standing tall, but we are teasing Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn is probably going to get in there as well. Once again, this is going to be so good, and this was a great angle, because most things with the Bloodline are giving it an up. Which brought us to the end of Smackdown. I thought this was actually a very good show, because it just did exactly what we needed to do, although on the quiet, kind of just want to get through this Saudi Arabia show. What are you going to do? Now, of course, please do leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought about last night's episode of Smackdown. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs from Monday Night Raw, to get all of my opinions. Otherwise, my friend, have a...
Let's see, I hope it's not Semi. Bro, let's make it family, bro. Just have an all Simone fight. Like, bring in Hikuleo, bring in, what is it? There's a Lance and a Wahi. We can bring in Zillify too, bro. Don't bring in them. He's a white, bro. Not Samoan. Cool white guy. He a little weird, but he dressed like a hobo. But nah, he not. He ain't family. He was honorary. That means not family. That's what honorary means. You an honorary friend, but you ain't family. You can never be family. You can try. You could try.